What's up, guys? So this video is going to be a little bit different. Normally I'm going to be showing you builds and stuff like that, but this video is going to kind of show you what we do in our off time. Yeah, we love to eat. So when we're exploring, we also like to go to great places and eat. This is one here in Murfreesboro that we went to, and it was really good. So good, Rachel did a little happy dance. But also in this video, we're going to show about how, not that Rachel likes my food better, but that were some of the things we do during our off time, like building and picking up supplies.
As usual, you know what there is?
Well, there's a big sign. There's usually a good reason.
You know, for some reason, I honestly think Spanish is almost easier for my brain to register than Chinese. Like, almost. I'm just thinking, I'm picking up a lot of these words that I already know in this song. But in Chinese, maybe it's because the tones are gone in music. It's really hard for me to understand Chinese music, even though my Chinese level's way above my Spanish. But it's like really hard. It's like my brain doesn't have trouble registering conversation. That registers just like English. If I know the words. If I don't know the word, I just don't know the word. But
so one thing in the future video I'm fixing to put out is showing you how I went to all these locations, looking at the different toolboxes, trying to figure out what's the best cost-effective solution.
Let's go get some boxes to get the electrical organized ahead of schedule.
Ended up doing this to make more than just electrical boxes.
This is hard putting on one-handed.
Yeah, those masks, I wear them every time. I swap between a few different styles, but to me it's important to wear them. Wear it most of the time, even when I'm at Panera editing. Why? Because it's just a good way to respect the people around me. So when we're not doing research on tools or video editing, I like to spend my time, volunteering, doing builds. So that handicap ramp you've seen there is something we built earlier in the spring. The lady we built it for, we only attached it to the existing deck, and that's why you can see the color difference. But the old deck had some soft woods, and one of them fell through or just got a little weaker, so she asked if I could come extend the deck out because her husband lives in a wheelchair and he need a little bit more room. So we took it from a 4x4 deck and turned it into a 4-foot by 8-foot deck. So now she can even go out and now she can go out in the morning time, sit and enjoy the sunrise. Well, she won't see the sunrise, but she can enjoy being outside on her deck and not have to go up and down the stairs. This was a fun, simple little build. It was a 2-day build. First day was demoing out, so we removed all these screws, and I was really impressed. Most of these screws came out really well. A few of them just broke inside, and then I tapped them down with a hammer, but for the most part, the screws came out really well. So I didn't have to use that crowbar a whole lot. As you can see, there are a few there just kind of stayed, and we could just hammer those out. I probably could have salvaged that wood a little more than I did, but since I was going through all other work, I wanted just to make sure that it was done so she didn't have to worry about calling me back out to replace that in a few years. But I stacked it aside for them. We'll go haul it off in a few days, just making sure there wasn't something else they wanted to add in. And we use those for cross bracing because the cross bracing isn't structurally doing a lot. It's just kind of tying the 4x4 posts together, so it worked out great just to hold them together, put a few screws in it. We did this deck on a 16 on center for the 2x6s. So this is a Cobalt 7¼ saw. It's one of the first power tools I actually bought. I picked it up for like $90 on a Black Friday, maybe like 8 years ago, and the thing still works like a charm. I really like it. I may switch over and get one of the cordless versions of these guys because I like it that much. I have the big Bosch 12-inch miter that is freaking phenomenal. But it's so heavy to lug around to a site like this. This works out perfect. Only thing it struggles with is like the 4x4s, but that's easy. Just flip it over and it works out good. So that 2x4 you see on the end, and later on you'll see a 2x6. Those are there just to hold everything in place while we build it. I was one board shy, and I don't know why the E popped up, but I'll try to remove that or just leave it just because now we have random audio about it. I'm not really measuring this one to be level. I'm making it drain away from the house a little bit just because she wanted me to raise it up so it was easier for the wheelchairs to get in and out of the door. So we brought it up a little higher than we normally would. So having more slope go away from the house just to help prevent any rain from coming inside the house. So you can look and see that 2x6 I rested that on. That made it super easy for raising this because I was by myself for most of the build. Here in a little bit, my dad shows up to help me finish it up. Mainly just checking on and see what I was doing and to bring me that 2x6 I needed. While he was here, he did really help me put in a lot of the screws and just kind of help me balance it out. And that was his first time using these Ryobi drills and saws I had. Well, he didn't really use the saw, but he did use the drill. And he liked it. He was like me. The power difference of that versus the DeWalt, they're two different tools. The price points are roughly the same, but the DeWalt does have more power than that Ryobi. But for the battery lineup of the other tools, the Ryobi serves me really well. Like that saw. I bought that saw in a kit just recently. The skill saw, a multi-tool, drill and impact, a 4 amp hour battery, and a little flashlight was all $200. If I would have did that with DeWalt, that'd been like $400. So you get what you pay for. These tools work good. My goal is to have it where when people come and either help me or I help them and they use the tools, to have the tools that they could go afford and buy themselves and not just be like, okay, one day I'll have all the Fetz tools or all Bosch tools, and you show them that, hey, the more economy line tools work just fine. You just sometimes have to do things a little bit slower or take double the time or just double check everything, but they work out good.
So definitely one of my favorite places to get the haircut. Actually, my absolute favorite place to get a haircut is the Tropical Island here in Tennessee. It's actually owned by my aunt. I'm not positive she's my aunt or not. I just say she is because she's that awesome and I want to claim her as family. Nope, not Bojangles. Going to the Lowe's to grab a few supplies for the handicap ramp we did earlier in the year. We did the ramp earlier in the year. And then here recently she reached out while I was working on Atticus and asked if I could come back and do a deck for and add some stairs because there was part of it we attached to and the old deck fell through, and so we just got done replacing the deck yesterday and we're going to do the stair runners today. Alright, we got the supplies we need to finish up the decking project. We're staying right on target. It's another project where we're not making money on, but this time the client covered the material costs, and so that's really cool that the material is covered. It means it doesn't come out of our pocket, it's only us volunteering our time, which is really nice because it's hard to do. It's easier to give away time than it is money just because we don't have money. Time I can reallocate to a point. You know, we do some projects that make money and some projects that don't. You know, I would love that none of them did, but unfortunately I do have to operate and make income somehow. So my goal is to basically give away as much as I make. But unfortunately there's a lot of expenses. It costs money just to even edit these videos. It costs money just to, have internet. So I've got a lot of expenses, but the more I grow, the more I can charge for what I charge, and the more I can give away, which is very exciting.
And so we bought the stair runners pre-cut from Lowe's. The reason we did that is because if I would have cut those out, I couldn't find the boards that looked good enough. Just the boards you could buy, the 2x12s, they had more knots in them. So this way looked more sturdy, cost a little bit more, but did save a lot of time, and it allowed Callie here to help us out, and she was able to be involved with this whole process, where if I'd been cutting, she would have got bored or just hot, because it was a really hot day. And so it's just a fun way for us to work together. I would start the screws and then she would drive them in the rest of the way. We had to figure out how far apart to space the ones in the middle, and I let her decide, did one go in the middle or two. She did all that math and maybe had a little help, but she did it all. And so it's really cool just to get her involved in it. So we attach one side on the front of the 4x4 and the other one I'll have to crawl under there and attach it from the back side. Luckily it was just built and I just washed it, so it was good and clean, easy to get under there, wasn't any problem. And then we're just measuring from the top of the deck to the top of the stair treads to make it flat. Not level, but flat, the same distance across. And here we go again. I just kind of get the screws started and she drills them in the rest of the way. I put a little bit of pressure on the back of the drill for her. That way it doesn't slip off, because otherwise she'll pull the trigger a little bit too fast and they'll bounce off. But we all do that from time to time, so I'm just there to help guide her, and she pretty well did it all by herself. I just started them just so they were spaced out where I wanted them. But this is more what I want to do more and more in my time, is helping out people do stuff around their homes. It doesn't have to be a tiny home. We just want to help out people. Building tiny homes is fun, but accepting people in all different stages of life, whether they're in brick and mortar house, sticks houses, modular homes, tiny homes, it doesn't matter. We just want to help people out. And so that's what we did on 2 days off this week. So if you like what we're doing, check out supporting us on Patreon, or just even go to our website and make one-time donations.
We just finished up the deck and stairs. I had Callie help me. She did all the screwing in for me. I'd get up started, she'd finish it up. She did a good job with it. We got it all finished up. We'll come back one day and put a handrail, but considering there's a handicap ramp that we built to ADA spec earlier in the year, it's just kind of there for quick trips for the kids to go up and down, so the handrail is not as important. We'll come back at a later date and finish that though. Now going ahead, visit my nieces and nephews for a few minutes, and I gotta go make some phone calls. Just got this in the mail. I'll set this in the shop. Today I'm trying to take the day off for the most part. Fixing to go swimming. We'll put this in the shop and we'll look at this later.